First contact. The massive alien ship appeared without warning, materializing just beyond Earth's moon. Its sleek, crystalline structure glimmered in the sunlight, a stark contrast to the darkness of space. On Earth, chaos erupted as governments scrambled to respond and civilians alternated between panic and awe. Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force stood on the bridge of humanity's flagship, the UES Horizon. Her dark eyes were fixed on the holographic display of the alien vessel, its size dwarfing even the largest human ships. "Status report," Chen demanded, her voice calm despite the tension visible in the set of her shoulders. Lieutenant Yuki Tanaka's fingers flew over her console. "No response to our hails, Admiral. Their shields are up, but weapon systems appear to be inactive." Chen nodded, her mind racing through potential scenarios. "Keep trying all frequencies, and get me a direct line to the Security Council." As the bridge crew worked feverishly, Chen couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was woefully unprepared for this moment. Despite decades of searching the stars, they had never found conclusive proof of intelligent alien life. Until now. The holographic display flickered, and suddenly a face appeared, if you could call it that. The alien had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, no visible nose, and a mouth that seemed to be a collection of small tentacles. Its skin was a pale blue, with intricate patterns that shifted and changed as it moved. "This is Grand Arbiter Zixleth of the Galactic Confederation." The alien spoke, its words translated by an unseen device. "We come in peace, but with grave concerns. Your species has been deemed a potential threat to galactic stability. Prepare to receive our delegation for evaluation." Before Chen could respond, the transmission cut off. She turned to her second-in-command, Commander David Okafor. "David, I want every scrap of data we have on that ship, and get me our top xenobiologists and cultural experts. We need to be prepared for whatever this evaluation entails." Okafor nodded grimly. "Yes, Admiral. And if they're not here for peaceful evaluation?" Chen's expression hardened. "Then we show them why humanity has survived on a death world for millions of years." As preparations began for the alien delegation's arrival, news of the impending evaluation spread across Earth. In New York City, Dr. Amelia Rodriguez, a renowned xenoanthropologist, received an urgent summons to a top-secret briefing. In Lagos, Nigeria, child psychologist Dr. Chidi Mosu was pulled from a conference to consult on potential alien psychology. And in a small town in rural China, young Lai Wei and his friends continued their game of tag, blissfully unaware that their simple play would soon become the subject of intense alien scrutiny. 12 hours later, a sleek shuttle descended from the alien mothership, touching down in a specially prepared landing zone outside Geneva. A mixed group of human diplomats, scientists, and military personnel waited with bated breath as the shuttle's door opened with a soft hiss. Grand Arbiter Zixleth emerged, flanked by 2 beings that appeared to be guards. Their exoskeletons gleamed under the afternoon sun, and their movements were precise, almost mechanical. Behind them came a diverse group of aliens, each seemingly representing a different species. "Welcome to Earth," said UN Secretary General Adebayo, stepping forward with an outstretched hand. "We are honored to." Zixleth held up a hand, cutting him off. "Save your platitudes, human. We are not here for diplomatic niceties. Your species' reckless expansion and chaotic nature have drawn the attention of the Galactic Confederation. We are here to determine if you pose a threat that must be contained." A murmur ran through the human delegation. Admiral Chen, standing near the back, tensed at the implied threat. But it was Dr. Rodriguez who spoke up, her scientific curiosity overriding caution. "Grand Arbiter," she said, stepping forward. "I'm Dr. Amelia Rodriguez, xenoanthropologist. If I may ask, what specific behaviors have led you to consider us a threat?" Zixleth's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture that seemed to convey surprise or perhaps irritation. "Your constant warfare, your rapid technological advancement without regard for consequences, your chaotic social structures." But perhaps most concerning is how you raise your young. Now it was the human's turn to look confused. Dr. Nwosu, the child psychologist, cleared his throat. I'm not sure I understand. How we raise our children is a threat. You allow them to engage in dangerous activities without supervision or control, Zixleth said, disgust evident in their tone. We have observed your playgrounds and sports. You deliberately put your offspring in harm's way. It is barbaric. The human delegation exchanged glances, a mix of confusion and amusement on their faces. Admiral Chen stepped forward, her military bearing a stark contrast to the aliens' fluid movements. Grand Arbiter, she said, her voice firm but respectful. I believe there may be a misunderstanding here. Perhaps if you could observe our children more closely, you might see that what appears chaotic to you is actually a crucial part of our development. Zixleth's tentacle mouth writhed in what might have been consideration. Very well. We will conduct a more thorough evaluation. But be warned, if we deem your species a threat, the consequences will be severe. As the alien delegation was led away to their quarters, the human leaders huddled together. Secretary General Adebayo looked grave. This is unprecedented. The fate of our entire species could hinge on how well we can explain the concept of play to these aliens. Dr. Rodriguez nodded enthusiastically. This is fascinating from an anthropological perspective. Their reaction to our child-rearing practices suggests a fundamentally different approach to growth and learning. Or a fundamental lack of understanding, Dr. Nwosu added. We need to show them the benefits of our approach, not just tell them. Admiral Chen had been quiet, her military mind analyzing the situation from all angles. Now she spoke up. I have an idea. But it's going to require us to take a risk. The very thing these aliens seem to fear. The others turned to her, curiosity and hope mingling on their faces. Chen smiled, a plan already forming in her mind. We're going to give them a first-hand experience of human play. And we'll start with the most chaotic, joyful example we have, a children's birthday party. As the sun set on this historic day, the fate of humanity hung in the balance. But unbeknownst to the aliens, they were about to encounter a force more powerful than any weapon or technology. The unbridled imagination and resilience of human children at play. The next morning dawned bright and clear, a stark contrast to the tension that hung over the proceedings. The alien delegation, led by Grand Arbiter Zixleth, had agreed to observe human children in their natural environment. What they didn't know was that Admiral Chen and her team had arranged for them to attend a birthday party for 8-year-old Zoe Thompson in a local park. As the aliens approached the park, the sounds of laughter and shrieks of joy reached them. Zixleth's 4 eyes widened, and their guards tensed, hands hovering near what appeared to be weapons. What is that commotion? Zixleth demanded. Are the young ones in distress? Dr. Nwosu, who had been assigned as their guide, smiled reassuringly. Not at all, Grand Arbiter. That's the sound of children having fun. They're playing. The alien delegation entered the park, and immediately, chaos seemed to erupt around them. Children were running in all directions, chasing each other with water guns. Others were climbing on jungle gyms, swinging from monkey bars, and sliding down twisting slides. A group was gathered around a piñata, taking turns swinging a stick at it blindfolded. Zixleth's tentacle mouth writhed in what seemed to be horror. This is madness. They could be injured. Why are the adult humans not intervening? Dr. Rodriguez, who had joined them, gestured to the parents scattered around the edges of the playground. They are supervising, Grand Arbiter, but they're allowing the children to explore, to take calculated risks. It's how humans learn and grow. One of the alien scientists, a tall, spindly being named Quix, was furiously taking notes. Fascinating. Their motor skills and problem-solving abilities seem highly developed for such young specimens. As they watched, a young boy fell while attempting to climb the jungle gym. The aliens tensed, expecting cries of pain and a rush of adults. Instead, the boy picked himself up, brushed off his knees, and immediately began climbing again. "Incredible," muttered another alien scientist. "Their resilience is remarkable." Zixleth, however, seemed unconvinced. "This is precisely the behavior that concerns us. Such disregard for personal safety, such chaos. How can this lead to a stable, advanced civilization?" Just then, birthday girl Zoe spotted the alien delegation. Her eyes widened with excitement, and she ran over, her friends close behind. "Wow, are you real aliens? That's so cool. Do you want to play with us?" Zoe asked, her voice filled with wonder and not a trace of fear. The aliens recoiled, clearly unused to such direct and enthusiastic interaction. Zixleth's guards moved protectively in front of their leader, but Zoe just laughed. "Don't worry, we won't hurt you. We're just playing." "Do you know how to play tag?" she asked. Before the aliens could respond, another child shouted, "Tag, you're it," and tapped Zoe on the shoulder. Squealing with delight, Zoe reached out and tapped the nearest alien guard. "Now you're it," she cried, before running off with her friends. The guard stood frozen, utterly baffled by what had just happened. The other children, sensing a new and exciting playmate, began to circle the aliens, laughing and calling out encouragement. Dr. Mosu stepped in, seeing the aliens' confusion. "It's a game," he explained. "The person who is it tries to touch, or tag, another player. Then that player becomes it, and tries to tag someone else. It's a way for children to improve their speed, agility, and strategic thinking, all while having fun." Zixleth's eyes blinked rapidly, trying to process this information. But what is the purpose? What do they gain from this activity? Admiral Chen, who had been observing from a distance, approached the group. "They gain everything, Grand Arbiter. They learn to take risks, to pick themselves up after failure, to work together and compete fairly. They develop physical skills and social bonds. But most importantly, they learn to adapt to changing situations, a skill that has allowed humanity to survive and thrive." As if to illustrate her point, the children had now adapted their game of tag to include the aliens, running in exaggerated slow motion and making comical alien noises as they chased each other. Quix, the alien scientist, was watching the proceedings with growing interest. "Grand Arbiter, I believe we may have misjudged the situation. This play appears to be a highly effective method of skill development and social bonding." Zixleth still seemed skeptical, but there was a note of uncertainty in their voice now. Perhaps we need to observe more before drawing conclusions." Just then, a cry went up from the children. The piñata had finally broken, spilling candy across the ground. In a flash, the kids were scrambling to collect the treats, laughing and playfully competing with each other. One little girl, noticing that an alien child in the delegation hadn't moved, walked over and placed a piece of candy in their hand. "Here," she said with a smile. "Everyone should get candy at a birthday party." The alien child looked at the candy, then at the human girl, then back at the candy. Slowly, hesitantly, they unwrapped it and put it in their mouth. Their eyes widened in surprise and delight. Zixleth watched this interaction closely, their expression unreadable. But Admiral Chen, observing from nearby, allowed herself a small smile. It wasn't much, but it was a start. As the party continued, the aliens found themselves drawn into more activities. They watched in fascination as children bobbed for apples, played musical chairs, and engaged in a messy but enthusiastic cake-eating contest. Each game or activity seemed to baffle the aliens at first, but as Dr. Mosu and Dr. Rodriguez explained the skills being developed: hand-eye coordination, rhythm, social negotiation, understanding began to dawn. One of the younger aliens, seemingly inspired by the human children's fearlessness, attempted to join a game of hopscotch. Its first few attempts were awkward, its multiple limbs tangling as it tried to hop on one foot. But the human children cheered it on, offering encouragement and demonstrations. By the end of the game, the alien was hopping with surprising grace. Its mandibles clicked in what seemed to be the alien equivalent of laughter. As the party wound down, Zixleth approached Admiral Chen. The Grand Arbiter's earlier hostility seemed to have softened, replaced by a sort of bewildered curiosity. "Admiral," Zixleth began, "I must admit, this was not what we expected when we came to evaluate your species. Your young ones display a remarkable combination of skills that we had not anticipated." Chen nodded, careful to keep her expression neutral. "Thank you, Grand Arbiter. I hope this has helped to alleviate some of your concerns about our child-rearing practices." Zixleth's tentacle mouth writhed in what Chen was beginning to recognize as a gesture of contemplation. "It has given us much to consider. However, we still have concerns about how this chaotic approach translates to your adult behaviors and societal structures." Chen was about to respond when alarms suddenly blared from both human and alien communication devices. An aide rushed up, face pale with worry. "Admiral, Grand Arbiter," the aide said, breathless, "we're receiving reports of a massive asteroid on a collision course with Earth. Our initial calculations suggest it's large enough to cause an extinction-level event. It'll hit in less than 72 hours." The playful atmosphere of the birthday party evaporated instantly. Human parents rushed to gather their children, while the alien delegation huddled around Zixleth, chittering in their own language. Chen's mind raced, already calculating options and strategies. She turned to Zixleth, her expression grave but determined. "Grand Arbiter, I know we have our differences, but right now we have a common threat. Will you help us?" Zixleth was silent for a long moment, their four eyes blinking in rapid succession. Finally, they spoke. "We will assist. But understand this, Admiral. How your species responds to this crisis will be the ultimate test. If you revert to chaos and self-interest in the face of extinction, it will confirm our worst fears about humanity." Chen nodded, her jaw set in determination. "Understood, Grand Arbiter. Now, let's go save a planet." As they rushed towards the command center, leaving behind the remnants of the birthday party, neither human nor alien realized that the lessons learned on that playground of adaptability, cooperation, and thinking outside the box would prove crucial in the hours to come. The fate of Earth now hung in the balance, and humanity would need every ounce of their unique creativity and resilience to survive. The next 24 hours were a blur of activity as humanity faced its greatest existential threat. The approaching asteroid, dubbed Nemesis by the media, was over 300 kilometers in diameter, large enough to cause global devastation upon impact. Earth's governments had united in the face of this common enemy, but even their combined resources seemed woefully inadequate against such a massive threat. In the United Earth Defense Force's primary command center, Admiral Chen stood before a diverse group of human experts and alien delegates. The room was tense, filled with the frantic energy of dozens of people working against an impossible deadline. "Our current arsenal of nuclear weapons isn't powerful enough to divert or destroy an object of this size," Chen explained, gesturing to the holographic display of Nemesis. Chen continued, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Even if we could launch every nuclear weapon on Earth, it wouldn't be enough to significantly alter Nemesis' course." Zixleth stepped forward, their four eyes blinking rapidly. "Our Confederation vessels possess energy weapons far beyond your current technology. However, even they would struggle to destroy an object of this magnitude." The room fell silent as the full weight of their predicament settled in. It was Dr. Rodriguez who broke the silence, her eyes lighting up with an idea. "What if we don't need to destroy it?" she asked. "What if we could change its composition instead?" All eyes turned to her. Chen leaned forward, intrigued. "Explain, Doctor." Rodriguez gestured excitedly. "The asteroid is primarily composed of iron and nickel, right? What if we could alter its molecular structure? Make it less dense, more brittle? It might break apart on its own as it enters the atmosphere." One of the alien scientists, a crystalline being named Vox, chimed in. Fascinating proposal. Our ships are equipped with matter manipulation beams for mining operations. They've never been used on this scale, but theoretically, it could work. Chen finished, a spark of hope igniting in her eyes. But we'd need to get close to the asteroid, much closer than any of our ships can safely manage. Zixleth's tentacle mouth writhed thoughtfully. Our vessels could withstand the approach, but we would need to work together. Your scientists to guide the process, our technology to execute it. Chen nodded, her mind already racing with the possibilities. We'll need to coordinate a global effort. Every telescope, every supercomputer, focused on calculating the precise points where we need to alter the asteroid structure. As the room erupted into a flurry of activity, with humans and aliens alike working side by side, Chen couldn't help but reflect on the irony of the situation. The very chaos and adaptability that had concerned the aliens was now humanity's greatest asset in facing this crisis. Over the next 48 hours, a plan took shape. It was risky, unprecedented, and relied heavily on the cooperation between humans and aliens. But it was their best, their only hope. As the deadline approached, a fleet of human and alien ships assembled in Earth's orbit. At its center was the UES Horizon, temporarily refitted with alien technology to serve as the command center for the operation. Chen stood on the bridge, surrounded by a mix of human and alien crew members. The view screen showed Nemesis looming ever larger, a dark mass blotting out the stars. All ships report ready. Admiral, Commander Okafor announced. Chen took a deep breath. Initiate Operation Molecular Mayhem. The alien ships moved forward, their sleek forms gliding through space with a grace that belied their power. As they neared Nemesis, brilliant beams of energy lanced out, striking the asteroid at precisely calculated points. On the horizon, human and alien scientists worked feverishly, analyzing real-time data and making constant adjustments to the energy beams. Dr. Rodriguez stood at the center of this organized chaos, calling out instructions and coordinating efforts with an intensity that impressed even the aliens. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the occasional update or course correction. Then, almost imperceptibly at first, Nemesis began to change. Fissures appeared across its surface, growing larger by the minute. It's working. Dr. Rodriguez exclaimed, her eyes fixed on the redouts. The asteroid's density is decreasing. Internal stresses are building up. Zixleth, who had insisted on being part of the operation, turned to Chen. Impressive, Admiral. Your species' ability to innovate under pressure is remarkable. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Thank you, Grand Arbiter. But we're not out of danger yet. As if to emphasize her point, alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. Admiral, Okafor shouted. The asteroid, it's breaking apart faster than we anticipated. Some fragments are still on a collision course with Earth. Chen's mind raced. They had planned for this possibility, but not on this scale. She turned to Zixleth. Grand Arbiter, we need to use your ship's weapons to destroy those fragments. Can you do it? Zixleth hesitated for just a moment before nodding. It will be done. But Admiral, you must understand. Using our weapons so close to your planet, it goes against every protocol we have. The risk of collateral damage is less than the certainty of destruction if we do nothing. Chen finished. She met Zixleth's four-eyed gaze steadily. We trust you, Grand Arbiter. Now we need you to trust us. For a long moment, Zixleth was silent. Then, to everyone's surprise, they made a sound that seemed almost like a human chuckle. Very well, Admiral. It seems we have no choice but to embrace a little chaos. What followed was a display of coordinated precision that would be talked about for generations. Alien ships darted between asteroid fragments, their energy weapons lancing out to vaporize chunks of rock that would have devastated entire continents. Human vessels provided support, using their more conventional weapons to deal with smaller debris. On Earth, People watched in awe as the night sky lit up with explosions, a deadly fireworks display that held the fate of their world in the balance. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Commander Okafor's voice broke the tense silence on the horizon's bridge. "Admiral, all major fragments have been neutralized. Remaining debris will burn up harmlessly in the atmosphere." A cheer went up from the human crew members. Even the aliens seemed to relax, their rigid postures softening ever so slightly. Chen let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. She turned to Zixleth, extending her hand. "Thank you, Grand Arbiter. We couldn't have done this without you." Zixleth regarded Chen's outstretched hand for a moment before reaching out with one of their limbs to grasp it. The gesture was awkward but deeply meaningful. "Perhaps," Zixleth said, "we have all learned something today about the value of flexibility." As the combined fleet began its return to Earth, there was a sense that something fundamental had shifted. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged not just alive, but with new allies and a new understanding of their place in the universe. But even as they celebrated their victory, Chen couldn't help but wonder, what new challenges awaited them in this brave new galactic community? And how would humanity's unique blend of chaos and creativity shape the future that lay ahead? In the weeks following the Nemesis incident, Earth became a hub of unprecedented interspecies cooperation. The averted crisis had opened new channels of communication and collaboration between humans and the various alien species of the Galactic Confederation. At the heart of this new era of cooperation was a joint research facility hastily constructed on the outskirts of Geneva. Here, human and alien scientists worked side by side, sharing knowledge and pushing the boundaries of their respective technologies. Dr. Amelia Rodriguez found herself at the center of this scientific melting pot. Her innovative thinking during the asteroid crisis had earned her the respect of both her human peers and the alien delegates. Now she was leading a team dedicated to understanding and bridging the cultural and biological gaps between species. One morning, as she was reviewing data on alien learning patterns, she received an unexpected visitor. Grand Arbiter Zixleth glided into her lab, their four eyes blinking in sequence, a gesture Dr. Rodriguez had come to recognize as one of curiosity. "Dr. Rodriguez," Zixleth began, "I hope I'm not interrupting. I have been contemplating our initial misunderstandings about human child-rearing practices. I wonder if you might enlighten me further." Amelia smiled, setting aside her work. "Of course, Grand Arbiter. What would you like to know?" Zixleth's tentacle mouth writhed thoughtfully. "We have observed that human children seem to learn and adapt at a remarkable rate, often through what appears to be unstructured play. Our own young are educated in highly controlled environments, yet they do not display the same creativity that we've seen in humans. I find myself wondering if there is a connection." Dr. Rodriguez nodded, her eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. "There absolutely is, Grand Arbiter. Human children learn through exploration, through trial and error. What might look like chaos to an outside observer is actually a complex process of learning and development." She pulled up a holographic display showing brain scans of children at play. When children engage in free play, multiple areas of their brains light up simultaneously. They're not just having fun. They're building neural pathways, developing problem-solving skills, and learning to navigate social interactions. Zixleth leaned in, their eyes fixed on the display. "Fascinating. And this unstructured approach, it does not hinder their ability to function in structured environments later in life." "Quite the opposite," Amelia explained. "Children who engage in free play tend to be more adaptable, more creative in their problem-solving. They're better equipped to handle unexpected challenges, like, say, a massive asteroid threatening their planet." Zixleth made a sound that Amelia had come to recognize as the alien equivalent of a chuckle. "A fair point, Doctor. Our initial assessment of human unpredictability as a weakness was short-sighted." As they continued their discussion, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Dr. Rodriguez rushed to her computer, quickly pulling up the security feeds. What she saw made her gasp. one of the experimental alien energy cores, a piece of technology that the Confederation had been hesitant to share but had finally agreed to study jointly with humans, was overloading. The readings were off the charts, suggesting an imminent catastrophic failure. "We need to evacuate," Amelia said, already moving towards the door. But Zixleth held up a hand, their eyes fixed on the security feed. On the screen, they could see a group of human and alien scientists frantically working to contain the overload. But it was clear their efforts were failing. The energy readings continued to spike dangerously. Then, something unexpected happened. A young human intern, barely out of college, suddenly rushed forward. Ignoring the shouts of her superiors, she began rearranging the containment field generators in a pattern that made no sense to the alien scientists. "What is she doing?" Zixleth asked, their voice a mix of concern and curiosity. Amelia watched, her heart racing. "I'm not sure, but wait, I think I see what she's trying to do." The intern's seemingly random arrangement was creating a resonance pattern in the containment field. As the energy core pulsed, the field pulsed with it, absorbing and redistributing the excess energy. Slowly, amazingly, the readings began to stabilize. The crisis had been averted. As the dust settled, Zixleth turned to Dr. Rodriguez, their four eyes wide with what she could only interpret as awe. That was most unorthodox. In our society, such a junior member would never be allowed to take such a risk. Yet her unconventional approach saved us all. Amelia nodded, a proud smile on her face. "That's the beauty of our approach, Grand Arbiter. We encourage thinking outside the box from a young age." That intern probably drew inspiration from some childhood game or puzzle, applying it to a real-world crisis in a way no one else had considered. Zixleth was quiet for a long moment, their tentacle mouth writhing in deep thought. Finally, they spoke. "Dr. Rodriguez, I believe I owe your species an apology. We came here believing we needed to evaluate you, to determine if you were a threat. But perhaps it is we who have something to learn from you." Amelia's smile widened. "Thank you, Grand Arbiter. But I think we all have something to learn from each other. Your technology, combined with our creativity. Imagine what we could accomplish together." As they left the lab to check on the aftermath of the near disaster, neither of them noticed the small group of alien children who had been watching the entire incident from a nearby observation deck. Their eyes were wide with wonder, and for the first time, they looked at their human counterparts not with suspicion, but with admiration. In the days that followed, something remarkable began to happen. Alien parents, inspired by what they had seen, began to cautiously allow their children more freedom to play and explore. Human children, in turn, became eager to learn about alien cultures and technologies. The research facility became a hub not just of scientific discovery, but of cultural exchange. It wasn't uncommon to see human and alien children playing together, their games a wild mix of Earth traditions and extraterrestrial concepts. Admiral Chen, visiting the facility to check on progress, couldn't help but smile as she watched a group of kids, human and alien alike, engaged in an enthusiastic game of tag. The alien children, initially clumsy and hesitant, were quickly adapting, their movements becoming more fluid and playful with each round. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" a voice said beside her. Chen turned to see Zixleth, their posture more relaxed than she had ever seen it. "It certainly is," Chen agreed. "I never thought I'd see the day when human and alien children played together like this." Zixleth's tentacle mouth writhed in what Chen now recognized as a smile. "Nor did I, Admiral. But I'm beginning to see the wisdom in your ways. This play, it's more than just frivolous activity. It's preparing them for a future we can't even imagine." Chen nodded, her eyes still on the children. "That's the idea, Grand Arbiter. We can't predict what challenges the universe will throw at us next. But if we foster creativity, adaptability, and cooperation from a young age, we'll be ready for anything." As they watched, one of the alien children tripped and fell. For a moment, everyone held their breath, expecting tears or a diplomatic incident. Instead, the child picked itself up, made a sound that could only be described as a giggle, and jumped right back into the game. Zixleth's 4 eyes blinked rapidly in surprise. Remarkable. In our society, such a fall would have resulted in immediate medical attention and a cessation of the activity. But this resilience, is exactly what helped us survive on a planet that tried to kill us in 1,000 different ways. Chen finished. And it's what will help us thrive out there in the stars. As the sun set on another day of interspecies cooperation and discovery, there was a sense of hope in the air. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but also dangers. Yet with human ingenuity and alien wisdom combined, the future looked brighter than ever. Little did they know, that future was about to arrive sooner than anyone expected. As night fell, a message arrived from deep space, a distress call that would test this new alliance in ways no one could have predicted. The message came in the dead of night, a faint signal from the edges of known space. It was picked up simultaneously by human listening posts and Confederation sensors, a cry for help in a language neither species recognized. Within hours, an emergency council had convened. Admiral Chen found herself once again standing beside Grand Arbiter Zixleth, facing a room full of human and alien leaders. The signal originates from a previously uncharted sector, Chen explained, gesturing to a holographic star map. We've managed to partially decode the message. It seems to be from a species facing some kind of extinction-level event. They're asking for help from anyone who can hear them. Murmurs filled the room. The human representatives looked excited at the prospect of first contact with a new species. The aliens, however, seemed more hesitant. Zixleth spoke up, their voice carrying a note of caution. This is unprecedented. Confederation protocol dictates non-interference with unknown species. We cannot risk exposing ourselves or involving our civilizations in an unknown conflict. Chen had expected this response. She took a deep breath before responding. With all due respect, Grand Arbiter, we can't just ignore a cry for help. Humanity has always believed in extending a helping hand to those in need, even if it means taking risks. A noble sentiment, Zixleth countered, but one that could lead to unforeseen consequences. We do not know the nature of their crisis or the potential dangers involved. The room erupted into debate, with opinions divided not just between humans and aliens, but within each group as well. Some argued for caution, others for immediate action. The discussion grew heated, threatening to dissolve into chaos. Suddenly, a new voice cut through the noise. What if we approached this like a game? All eyes turned to the source of the suggestion. It was Lai Wei, the young boy from rural China who had unknowingly played a role in the aliens' initial assessment of humanity. Now a teenager, he had been invited to the council as part of a youth ambassador program. Encouraged by the sudden attention, Lai Wei continued. In many of our games, we face unknown challenges. We don't always know the rules or the obstacles we'll face, but we adapt, we work together, and we find solutions. Couldn't we approach this situation the same way? A thoughtful silence fell over the room. Even Zixleth seemed intrigued by the young human's perspective. Interesting, they mused, their 4 eyes blinking in rapid succession. You suggest we treat this potential crisis as a learning experience? Lai Wei nodded eagerly. Exactly. We could send a joint expedition, humans and aliens working together. We'd be combining our strengths, your advanced technology and our adaptability, like a big real-life puzzle we solve together. Admiral Chen couldn't help but smile at the simplicity and brilliance of the idea. She turned to the room at large. The boy has a point. This could be an opportunity not just to help another species, but to test our ability to work together in unpredictable situations. The council chamber buzzed with excited discussion. Even the more cautious alien representatives seemed to be warming to the idea. After all, wasn't this precisely the kind of cooperation they had been working towards since the Nemesis incident? After hours of debate and planning, a decision was reached. The joint human-alien expedition would be sent to investigate the distress signal and offer aid if possible. The mission would be led by Admiral Chen and Grand Arbiter Zixleth, symbolizing the unity of their efforts. In the weeks that followed, preparations moved at a breakneck pace. The UEA's Horizon was refitted with the best of both human and alien technology. Its crew was a diverse mix of species, each bringing unique skills and perspectives to the mission. Dr. Rodriguez joined as the chief cynoanthropologist, her expertise crucial for potential first contact scenarios. Commander Okafor took charge of tactical operations, working closely with alien strategists to develop protocols for any possible situation. Even young Lai Wei was invited along as a special advisor, his unconventional thinking seen as a valuable asset for the unpredictable challenges they might face. As the day of launch arrived, a palpable sense of excitement and nervousness filled the air. Thousands gathered to watch as the Horizon prepared for departure, its sleek form gleaming in the morning sun. On the bridge, Admiral Chen stood beside Zixleth, both gazing out at the stars that would soon be their road. "Are you ready for this, Grand Arbiter?" Chen asked, a hint of a smile on her face. Zixleth's tentacle mouth writhed in what Chen now recognized as their version of a chuckle. "Ready? Admiral, I don't think anyone could truly be ready for what we're about to face. But I find myself excited by the prospect. Your human unpredictability seems to be rubbing off on me." Chen laughed. "Well, we'll need both our strengths out there. Your caution and our daring, your technology, and our creativity." As the final countdown began, Chen addressed the crew, her voice carrying to every corner of the ship and broadcasted to the watching billions on Earth and across Confederation worlds. "We embark today on a mission unlike any in history. We go not as separate species, but as a united front, representing the best of what our civilizations can achieve together. We face unknown dangers, yes, but we also face unlimited potential for discovery, for growth, and for forging bonds that span the stars." She paused, looking around at the diverse faces of her crew, human, alien, and everything in between. "Whatever we find out there, whatever challenges we face, we will face them together. For in our differences, we have found our greatest strength." With a final nod to Zixleth, Chen gave the order. "Helm, take us out." The Horizon's engines flared to life, a perfect fusion of human and alien engineering. As the ship lifted off, soaring towards the stars, it carried with it the hopes and dreams of two civilizations, and the promise of a future where the boundaries between them might finally fade away. As Earth dwindled behind them and the unknown stretched out before them, Admiral Chen felt a sense of profound optimism. They were venturing into uncharted territory, both literally and figuratively. There would be challenges ahead, dangers they couldn't even imagine, but they were facing them not as humans, not as aliens, but as explorers, united in their quest for knowledge and their desire to help others. The distress signal beckoned from the depths of space, a mystery waiting to be unraveled, and as the Horizon jumped to faster than light speed, Chen knew that whatever they found, it would change everything. This was more than a rescue mission. It was the dawn of a new era of galactic cooperation, with humanity and their once wary alien allies standing together at the frontier of discovery. The stars streaked by outside the view screen, each one a potential new adventure. And at the heart of the bridge, human and alien worked side by side, their differences forgotten in the face of the great unknown that lay ahead. As they ventured forth into the cosmic ocean, Admiral Chen couldn't help but think of the children playing back on Earth, human and alien alike, their games a joyful chaos of mixed cultures and shared imagination. In a way, wasn't that what they were doing now? Playing on a galactic scale, facing challenges with the same spirit of adventure and cooperation that had started on a simple playground. The future was uncertain, full of potential dangers and wonders beyond imagining. But as long as they held on to that spirit, the willingness to take risks, to think creatively, and to work together despite their differences, Shen knew they could face anything the universe threw at them. And so, the Horizon sailed on into the unknown, carrying with it the best of both worlds. Human and alien, chaos and order, daring and caution. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together, as friends, as allies, as a new kind of family forged in the crucible of cosmic challenge and discovery. The adventure was just beginning.